Meow meow. It's Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Reel, a film podcast of 3 or 4 100 minutes or so of films that I review. Whether the scripts make sense, whether the scripts are spoon fed, here I am reviewing it. I've seen all kinds of films, some that are so predictable, much like a Marvel film, and some that are so confusing, like like Eight and a Half, films like that, Pasolini. This film that I'm reviewing today is no different. If anything, it's just plain weird, but I love it because, at least to me, it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense to others. And I'm talking about David Lynch's Lost Highway. This movie came out in 1997. During that time, I was 7 years old, playing with toys. I didn't even know David Lynch existed, let alone movies such as David Lynch. This film's directed by David Lynch, written by Lynch and Barry Gifford, produced by Mary Sweeney, Tom Stenberg, Deepak Nair, starring Bill Pullman. Bill Pullman, the guy who played the president in Independence Day. Imagine that in a Lynch film. Patricia Arquette, who is a queen. A queen. Balthasar Getty, Robert Blake, Natasha Gregson Wagner, Gary Busey, Robert Loggia, the fucking legend. Cinematography, Peter Deming. Edited by Mary Sweeney. Music by Angelo Badalamenti. The soundtrack is produced by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. Distributed by October Films, the production companies that led to this film, CB2000 Asymmetrical Productions. This movie is a little over 2 hours long and was considered a box office bomb because it only grossed $3.8 million. I know that's not a lot. It's a lot of money though, but still not a lot. This is a neo-noir film, technically, because it introduces technology into the genre of the mystery, the whodunit of sorts. This film is one of the most complex films I've ever seen. I felt like I needed to watch it twice. I didn't see it twice, but it's a film that you really need to watch it more than once, especially if you're a Lynch fan. I mean, if you're a Lynch fan, you're gonna watch this movie more than 5 times, really, because it's a fucking trip. It's you're literally going down a lost highway of sorts, figuratively and literally, visually speaking. This film is about a married couple who receive videotapes in VHS form. They look at it and it's basically them being watched, whether it's outside or inside the house, and they don't even know about it. And the husband gets skeptical about his wife, thinks she might be cheating on him, and comes to a point where he looks at this one tape alone. It just comes on his doorstep, unbeknownst to anything in the world. He watches it, and it shows footage of him on top of his wife, brutally murdered. And it's crazy. It's predicting the future in a sense, right? And then all of a sudden, he's convicted of murder, and he's just placed in death row. And all of a sudden, some stuff happens. He transforms into this completely different being. And then the people at the prison are like, who the hell is this guy? Like, what happened to our prisoner? And they let him scot-free. And then that guy's living his own life. And the stuff that's going on in his life is somewhat connected to the character before him. And then all of a sudden, all kinds of shit happens. And This film's not that. It's not that it's hard to explain. It's just that I don't want to give anything away. There are twists, and in some ways, there are spoilers in those twists. Here's a fun fact for you, and doesn't spoil the story at all. Richard Pryor is in this film, and is actually his final on-screen motion picture performance before he, you know, unregrettably passed away. So that's really good to know. And he plays a good role. I mean, he's in that movie for like, let's say, honestly, he's there for like at least 5 minutes. Like, if anything, 5 to 10 minutes of screen time. And he doesn't have much dialogue, but nonetheless, he kills. You know, he doesn't do anything hilarious, but like, just that it's Richard Pryor playing an owner of a mechanic shop. This film is a cult classic. A lot of people hated this film, mainly critics, because they thought that this film doesn't make any sense. And when you look at it, you know, when you watch a film, sometimes you just got to let go and just let it swallow you whole. And you got to believe in everything it just shows you. Much like Stranger Things. You know, I don't like Stranger Things, but you just got to believe what's in front of you. I hate that it's corny, visually speaking, and aesthetically speaking, and even written wise. It's corny. I don't like it. I just have to believe everything that's going on, even if it doesn't make sense. But you can't compare that to a Lynch film. Lynch film, Lost Highway, in some weird fucking way, it just makes sense. And I love that Lynch knew what he was doing with this film. Every second of the way, he knew what he was doing, you know, from beginning to end, whether he shot it chronologically or not, he knew what he was doing, and I loved it. It goes through all kinds of emotions. It messes with your head. It messes with your understanding of a movie and your understanding of the human psyche, period. And I've seen just a fraction of those type of movies. And the reason why I even wanted to watch this movie, not because it's just a Lynch film, but because when you look at a film like that, it just makes you feel comfortable as far as, man, if you can do that, I can do shit like that. You know, in a way, it's encouraging, you know, to be outside of the box. And not only that, not only outside of the box, but like outside of the box that's outside of the box, if you know what I'm saying. And if there's anybody to learn that type of stuff from, it is definitely David Lynch. This film crosses genres, styles. At some point, some of the dialogue's so minimalistic, so monotone, and it's fucking funny. Like, you actually laugh, and you can kind of tell that it's intended for laughter. You know, there is some comedy in there. And when it's Lynch, there's got to be comedy. The guy is very elusive in his storytelling. He can go anywhere. And this film does go to some places, and it is very visually pleasing. I love that Lynch can use off-speed camera recording to make a visual statement, and it worked in this film a lot. He plays with colors. He plays with lighting like a mofo. Yes, I am praising him to the fullest, but that's how I felt watching this film, and I had a great time watching it. I recommend everybody to see it. It really is one of those films where it does put you on a ride, and it does give you a challenge as to, you know, is this what's really going on? You know, it can be normal for maybe 2 scenes, and then it can just go to some weird dark road, and you don't know if you're going to come out of that road. And if you are coming out of that road, the exit is very gripping and scary in some ways, you know, like psychologically scary, you know. I don't know what else to say about this film. Go watch it. I saw it in the theater. It had a 4K restoration. And this film came out in 97. And I don't know if it was shot in film or shot in video or whatever. I don't know. But it looks great. If you can't see it in the theater, which I think by this time or by next week, it's probably gone from your local theater or whatnot. It's available on YouTube. Please watch it. If you're really into some mystery shit, into some weird quasi psychosexual conniving films, watch it. You will not be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, good. At least you saw something outside of the norm that's not produced by Marvel or Disney or fucking Paramount, like this guy did it all on his own, of course, with Barry Gifford, of course, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see the cast that was selected into this film as well. It's people that you wouldn't normally see together in one film. In a way, some people might call this a B movie, like a postmodern B movie in a way, because when would you ever see Bill Pullman and Patricia Arquette and Henry Rollins in one movie, whether they're on the screen at the same time or not? It's just pleasing in a sense. This is Ray Salazar. Follow me at Morning Shot Films, YouTube, IG. Follow The Morning Reel. Rate and review this review. If you've seen this movie, you didn't like it, or if you thought what I said was complete BS, or nah, it still doesn't make sense. It does make sense. You just gotta let loose a little bit. You just gotta go into your head and just think about it. If a character is completely replaced, as far as an actor is concerned, if the actor is completely replaced with another actor to, in a sense, push the story, and it does push the story, then it's going to happen. And it happened. And I didn't believe it at first, but it's like alternate universes. You just got to like let loose and believe that things are happening, whether it makes sense or not, but it does make sense in a weird way. Anyways, Morning Reel, you can find it on fucking Google Play, Google Podcast, iHeart, Spreaker, YouTube, Apple Podcast. Thank you.